It's been 4 years since Michael Myers vanished without a trace.
Laurie has started to move on after the events of Halloween Kills. And when we pick up with her here, I was really struck by how well adjusted she is. It's almost as if the Laurie from the original Halloween never met Michael Myers, and we picked up with her now. What was it like transitioning from playing Laurie as drowning in her trauma to moving past it?
So I don't think she's moved past it. I actually beg to differ. The girl we meet in 1978 is the class valedictorian. She would have gone on to Brown and got her master's and been a brainiac. And her life was completely taken from her. Her innocence her entire life was interrupted by this monster. And I believe Laurie Strode went back to school 2 days later. I think she was back in school, Haddonfield High School, on November 2nd, a freak. Because of course she was the one who survived, her friends didn't. Suffering from all of the trauma of it, all the PTSD, which we didn't know was called PTSD then, and the loss of her friends and the survivor's guilt. And that's the girl that you meet in 2018. So 40 years later, the same girl has never gotten any help whatsoever, and she is living behind barbed wire. And I mean that emotionally, physically, spiritually. She is protected, she is dogmatic about one thing and one thing only. It has cost her family and her friends.
The way I raised your mother means that she hates me, but that she's prepared for the horrors of this world, then I can live with that.
And then by the end of Kills, there's this operatic execution of her daughter, this incredibly loud, violent frenzy of a movie. There's no way you could start another movie at that pitch. It would just be insane. So what I thought was great when David told me what the story was going to be is that Laurie hasn't moved past it, but she's walking alongside her grief.
Yeah.
That instead of it totally, consuming her, for 4 years she's had grief counseling, good trauma therapy, and she can now walk, never free from it, never healed from it, but she can walk forward with it next to her, but it isn't all inside her. And that's the woman we mean. It's interesting because the term past it means she's let it go. And I don't think she has, and I don't think you ever do. What I know of grief, of the loss of a child, you're never gonna get past it. But there's hope.
Yeah.
And I think what's crucial is that there's a little hope.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see because it reminds you of the original girl. It reminds you of what maybe Laurie's life could have been had Michael not been in her life. And then, of course, the ceiling crashes in on her, and the whole town turns on her. So, yes, it's a very different beginning, a very surprising beginning, but I think really when you look at it structurally, the only way you could start this last movie is give her a little chance at some hope. She smiles. There's a moment where she smiles. And I remember shooting it and my face hurt and I couldn't figure out why my face hurt, and it was because I had smiled. Because Laurie Strode never smiles.